it again. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. I did it again. It's your girl LaDria LaVae. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, you know I got you covered with making this amazing top. I was just inspired by doing something a little risky, so I call it the revival top. Just give it a little spice. Now, before we jump into my hands moving and grooving and all those things, let me show you exactly how this top is made. First, we'll start with the chain, of course, because this is a top-down raglan style top. Next, we're moving into the yoke, and this is where we'll increase at 4 points. After that, we'll separate the body, creating the armholes. Then we'll extend the body to create that super cute pattern to go as long or as short as you like. Next, we'll work on the peephole and the v-neck. And last but not least, extend the sleeve. This video is paired with the written pattern, which is extremely detailed, a little over 25 pages, diagrams, pictures, everything. You know I got you covered. Extra small to 5XL, and you can get the pattern by just clicking the link in the description below. So I'm going to be making a size small. I have my materials, which is all listed in the pattern. Make sure you have your pattern by your side because we're going to make this fire top. Please know that gauge is important for this project. Please don't hit me up, girl, it came out so large. And I'm going to ask you, girl, what size yarn you use? And you could be like, girl, I use a weight 6. What? No, please don't. Please don't. Please check your gauge for this. Everything is listed in the pattern for the gauge and the stitch we're using, because you know I be having y'all covered. So for a size small, and I'm working the row 1, where this row is for extra small, small, large, 3X and 5X. Oh wait, hold on, if you got to this point in the video, make sure you give your girl a thumbs up, subscribe, and all those good things. Let's get back to it. I will be showing row 1 for the other sizes just so you have an idea, but it's literally exactly the same, just starting with a different stitch out of the 2 stitches for the stitch. You know what, you're going to see what I'm talking about. All right, so boom, for a size small, I'm chaining 69, and you can find your size by looking at the whole chart. There's a whole chart, all right, for your size and all that. Okay, so I have my total of 69 for the size small. So we're going to double crochet in the 6th chain from the hook, chain 3, and double crochet in that same stitch. Now we're going to skip 2, and we're going to work our block stitch, which is 3 double crochets in that next stitch. We're going to skip 2 and V-stitch in the next, which is double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in that same stitch. So we're going to repeat that all the way down to the end, our V's and our blocks, skipping 2 in between. So after this stitch, I'll skip 2 and do a block stitch, which is 3 double crochets, and you know everything is laid out in that pattern. So we're going to continue this to the last 3 chains, where we will skip 2 and double crochet in the last. So I'm going to finish this. Now I want to show you getting started with sizes medium, XL, 2X, and 4X, because it's slightly the same. So as you see, for row 1 for sizes medium, XL, 2X, and 4X, you double crochet in the 6th chain from the hook, exactly how we did with the other sizes, and you place 2 double crochets in that same stitch. So you're just starting with your block stitch. You skip 2 and V-stitch in the next. It's all explained in the pattern, but I just wanted to show you that the only difference is those sizes will be starting with a block stitch instead of a V-stitch. So I'll get into the stitch markers later, because those is extremely important where we place the stitch markers. So make sure you stay tuned. Okay, so I'm down to that last 3 chains. I'm gonna skip 2 and double crochet in that last chain. Now before going into row 2, this step is extremely important. This is for all sizes. We're going to place our stitch markers. So let me show you exactly where, why, how we're gonna do that. So for extra small, you place it in the second V stitch. For medium second. So now we're going to place our stitch markers, and we'll be placing our stitch markers in V stitches. On page 7, you'll see it says place stitch markers, and the number for the first stitch markers, the second, third, fourth, and everything like that. So for my size small, I have to place a stitch marker in the second V stitch from the hook. So let me show you exactly how to count the V stitches. It's really simple. We're counting from the hook. So for my size small, my first stitch marker, I believe I got these from Clover. I'll link them below. I put it in the second V stitch from the hook. This is the first V stitch. This is the second. So I have my first stitch marker right there. And now for the next set of parentheses, after the comma, you'll see it says, next I have to place my stitch marker in the fourth V stitch from the hook. So this was the second. So that's the third. And then this is the fourth. And I'll show you with a larger size exactly how that looks with placing these stitch markers. So stay tuned. And I have to place a stitch marker in the 8th stitch from the hook. So this is the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7, and 8. And my last stitch marker will be going into the 10th V stitch. So that was 8, this is 9, and that's 10. So in these V stitches, where the stitch markers are, is where we will be increasing. So all the increases will be happening in stitch marker, and you just move them up along. So right here we have our shoulder and we have our back. This is where we will be increasing. So let me show you how that looks on the size medium. So this is the size medium, row 1. I already placed the stitch markers. As you can see on the pattern, I have to place the stitch marker in the second V stitch. So this is the first V stitch and this is the second V stitch. And next I had to place the stitch marker in the 5th V stitch from the hook. So that was 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and this is the 5th. Place a stitch marker there. So next I had to place a stitch marker in the 10th V stitch from the hook. So that was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 right here. And last, I had to place a stitch marker in the 13th stitch from the hook. So I just really want y'all to get this so y'all know exactly what y'all doing. So I'm just count all the way around so you're clear, okay? This is the first V stitch, that's the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you just follow along with where you need to place the stitch markers. It's super important and crucial because this is where all the increases will be happening. So now we're going to move on to row 2. And for the other sizes, it's all extremely similar. I just have the instructions separate so you can follow along for your size easier instead of me saying just start with the opposite stitch of these sizes, you know. Oh, now my binder fell. So now we're going to follow along for our size. And like I said, for the next row, it's very similar with all the sizes. I'm going to explain the extra small, large, 3X, 5X row 2. But it's extremely simple. And I will explain the term that I use throughout this pattern. So if you want to follow along with the words for your size with medium, XL, 2X, and 4X, you could just go straight to page 13. Now for all sizes, chain 3. Now we're going to work in the pattern. You're going to see work established pattern. That means the V stitch and the block stitch. So wherever there's a V stitch, you'll put a block stitch, which is 3 double crochets. Wherever there's a block stitch, you'll put a V stitch in that middle double crochet. So I know for the other sizes that's not a small, so meaning medium, XL, 2X, 4X, you will be starting with a V stitch, where the other sizes will start with a block stitch. So you just work established pattern to stitch marker, meaning just exactly what I said. I see there's a V stitch here, I'll put a block stitch, the 3 double crochets. Block stitch, V stitch right in that middle double crochet. And now when we get to the stitch marker, we will be placing 6 double crochets where the stitch marker is. So this is our first row of increase. And we're going to repeat these steps. So we're going to work the established pattern into the next stitch marker, and we'll place 6 double crochets. So once again, if you have a V-stitch, because you're working a different size, you'll put a block stitch. And if you have a block stitch like me, you'll put a V-stitch in the middle double crochet of each block. So I'm going to work my established pattern to the next stitch marker. For reference, we are currently working on page 8 for extra small, small, large, 3X, 5X, row 2. And for other sizes, we are on page 13 for sizes medium, XL, 2X, and 4X. Okay, so I'm at my next stitch marker. And we're just going to repeat the same exact steps all the way down to the end. Placing our increase where the stitch marker is for this row is 6 double crochets, working our established patterns, working our established pattern, which is the V's and block, to the next stitch marker, 6 double crochets, work established pattern, 6 double crochets, and then ending with a double crochet in that starting chain. So I'm going to work this row and I'll be back. All right, so I'm at the end of this row 2, and we're just going to double crochet in the turning chain, chain up 3, and turn our work. So now you see where we have the increases at. Next, we're going to move on to our second row of increase. On page 10, you'll see how the increases look in semi-diagram form. I tried my best just to show y'all so y'all really clear. Now we're going to move to row 3 on page 10 for sizes extra small, small, large, 3X, and 5X. And row 3 is on page 13 for all other sizes starting with medium. So let's continue. Like I said, for all sizes, we are family. Okay. We are just working our established pattern, which is either the V-stitch or the block stitch. And you'll see how block stitch, V-stitch, V-stitch, block stitch. We're just working that so we get to the 6 double crochets. Then we'll be moving the marker. So work your established pattern to the 6 double crochets. So when you get to your increase, this is for all sizes, you'll skip 1, V-stitch in the next. After that V-stitch, chain 1. We're going to skip up. We're not skipping anyway. We're going to skip 2 stitches, all right? And we're going to V-stitch in the next. Okay, so boom. There we have our V-stitch, chain 1, V-stitch. Now we're going to move that stitch marker to that chain 1 space. And we're going to continue working our established pattern and just repeating those steps. Like I said, on page 10, you'll see a mini diagram displaying the 6 double crochets, the next row for the increase, the V-stitch, chain 1 V-stitch, and everything that you need for those increases. So work your established pattern, all sizes, to the next 6 double crochets and repeat the same steps. All right, so let me show you one more time. I'm at that 6 double crochet. You skip 1, V-stitch in the next, chain 1, skip 2, and V-stitch in the next. Then you move your stitch marker to that chain 1 space, just like that, and you repeat all the way down to the end, placing a double crochet in that turning chain. So just repeat those steps, doing the increase where the 6 double crochets are, and I'll be back after this row. So I ended the row by placing a double crochet in the turning chain, and when I post it When I place the double crochet in the turning chain, I am putting that double crochet into one of the chains, just so to have a clean edge. Now chain up 3 and turn. I just want to show you how it's looking and how our yoke is forming. So you see all our stitch markers is in that chain 1 space of that 3rd row. So now let's start row 4 for extra small, small, large 3X and 5X. That is on row 11. And for medium, XL, 2X and 4X, that is on page 14. So it gets really repetitive, but everything is written out for you. I have pictures and everything so you can get a clear view. But it's just real simple. Now we're going into that next row. We're going to work our established pattern to the chain, which you remember, if there's a V-stitch, put a block. If there's a block, you put a V-stitch in that middle double crochet. So work your established pattern, and this is for all sizes. Work all the way down to the stitch marker. Now when you get to that stitch marker, you simply place a V-stitch in that chain 1 space. Place a V-stitch. So that's double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in that same stitch. And now we're going to place that stitch marker in that chain 3 of the V-stitch. So now you just repeat those same exact steps. You work your V's and blocks, or blocks and V's, whichever one you're at. So you know, next I have a V-stitch, so I'll put a block. Other sizes may have a block stitch, so you put a V-stitch. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down, okay? And continue that all the way till you get to the chain 1 space. That's where you do your V-stitch and move your stitch marker. Exactly what we just did. So I'm going to finish the row 4. Everything is written out for you in a pattern, and I'll be back when I'm done with this row 4. So I just finished my row 4 where I did the V-stitch with the increase and move the stitch marker to that chain 3 space. So let me break it down real quick what happens from here, because it's super repetitive and you just get the flowing, get the going, get the flowing, okay? Let me show you in the pattern. Okay, so now you just move on to row 5. That's for all sizes. You start working on row 5. I broke everything down here for you. As you can see in row 5, that it says you put your 6 double crochets where the stitch marker is. So you're just repeating the increase process in the stitch mark place and working your established pattern. Over here, it shows you that for extra small, you're going to continue working to rows 9 and 10. After row 8, you work your 9 and 10, which is simply a repeat of row 3 and 4, small and large. You'll work your rows to a total of 13 rows, and that's just a repeat of rows 3 and 7, 3X, 5X. You'll work rows 9 through 16, which is simply a repeat of rows 3 through 10, and row 9 and row 10 is a repeat of row 3 and 4. I know this may seem like a lot of words. I just really want y'all to get it because it is a simple pattern, but I just wanted it to be super detailed for everybody. So once these sizes finish all their rows, you just skip to separate body. Now for medium, large, 2X, and 4X, it's the same process. Let me just... Okay. Here we go. For medium, XL, 2X, and 4X, it's the same exact process. You'll repeat rows 9 through 13, which is a repeat of rows 3 to 7 for medium, XL, 2X, and 4X. Rows 9 through 16, you just repeat rows 3 to 10. And that's row 9 and 10 is a repeat of row 3 and 4. So you're just repeating those 3 rows of increase over and over again. I just listed it in detail so you know what's up with the what's up. After everybody is done creating their yoke, we'll move on to separating a body to move on to the arms, dividing the arms, and then we'll be working and joining rounds. So I'm going to finish the yoke for this size small. So that means I'm going to do a total of 13 rows. And when I'm done with row 13, I'll skip to separate body. So like I said, once again, if you just look at row 5, V6, you'll see it's the increase, 6 double crochet and mark chain space. The V-stitch, chain 1, V-stitch in the mark space. Like it's the flow of the flow and the repeat of exactly what we just did. So I'm gonna finish the yoke and I'll be back so we could get it together. Okay, we are back and I finished my yoke for my size small with a total of 13 rows. Now, once you finish your yoke, we're going to jump to separating the body. We're recreating the armholes and getting it popping. So let's all go to page 16. After you finish your yoke for every size, we go to page 16 and we're going to separate the body. So now we're going to work the established pattern to the first stitch marker. Like I mentioned, throughout the pattern, when you hear work established pattern, that just means the V-stitch and the block stitch. So some people ended with the block stitch last. I ended with V-stitch, but if you have a block stitch, you'll start with your V-stitch. I have a V-stitch, I'm going to start with a block stitch. Got it? Cool. Okay, so I'm going to work my established stitch pattern. Just remember, just work your pattern to the stitch marker. So I reached the stitch marker. Now we're going to work the established pattern in this marker, meaning just the opposite of what this is. So this is a V-stitch. We're going to work a block stitch. Now we're going to chain 3 and skip to the next stitch marker. So let me show you. So the chain 3 is right here. We're just skipping to the next stitch marker and work the established pattern in this space. So this is a V-stitch and I'm going to work a block stitch. And we're going to continue to work the pattern to the next stitch marker and just repeat the same steps. So I'm going to work this established pattern down to the stitch marker and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm at that next stitch marker and remember, just work the established stitch pattern. So I just work my block stitch because that's a V-stitch. Chain 3 and skip to the next stitch marker and work the established pattern in there. That's a V-stitch, so a block stitch. And continue to work the established pattern down to this last stitch and I'll be back when I'm right here. Okay, so I worked down to that last stitch. Now we have this turning chain right here. We're going to double crochet right into that turning chain. Did I even sound right? We're going to double crochet right into the turning chain. And this is where we'll join the body. So let me show you. So now we're going to be working on join rounds after this row. Just want to show you how it look, which direction we going. So let's join the round after that double crochet in the turning chain. So now we're going to chain 3, slip stitch into the turning chain of the beginning of this row. Now to start row 2, we'll chain 3. And now we're just going to work our established stitch pattern until we get to this chain 3 space right here. So now I'm at that chain 3 space. We're going to work the established pattern in the second chain of the chain 3, meaning if you have a V-stitch here, this will be a block stitch. If there's a block stitch here, then it'll be a V-stitch here. So work your established pattern in that second chain. So for me, that will be a block stitch. Remember, we will be using the first and third chain when working on extending our sleeves, so just keep that in mind. And now I'm just going to continue working the pattern, and you'll just repeat the same step all the way around. So let me break it down. 1, 2 to the 3, 4. Okay. So continue with the same steps, working the pattern all along to that chain 3 space. Work your established pattern in that second chain. Continue pattern, and I'll meet you back when we at this last stitch. So we're currently in round 2 with the separating of the body. And I'll be back when I'm done right here at this stitch. That didn't even make sense. Okay, I'll be back when I'm at this stitch. All right. So just continue working round 2 of this pattern for separate the body. Okay, so I am back to this chain 3 space. Now after you finish your last stitch, you're going to double crochet in the double crochet from the previous row right here. Why I said it like that? Right here. And now we're going to work our established pattern in that second chain, the same way we did for the armholes. So I have a V-stitch here, that means a block stitch here. If you have a block stitch here, then a V-stitch go there. Okay, so I'm going to work my pattern in that second chain, which will be my block stitch. Now we'll slip stitch right into the top of this chain. And now we'll work row 3, which is on page 18. You chain up 3 and work your stitch pattern all the way around till you get to this double crochet, and then you double crochet on top of this double crochet and establish stitch pattern in the middle. But don't worry, I'm gonna work it with you. So I'm gonna work my established stitch pattern, and this is the row that we will be repeating to extend our top. So I'm going to work the pattern all the way around, and I'll meet you back here. All right, now I'm back to the front of the top where we joined the rounds. So I have the double crochet from the previous row. Just double crochet right on top of that. Work established pattern. For me, that would be the V-stitch. Now we're going to slip stitch into this chain 3. You'll chain up 3 for your next row. And then you just repeat row 3 for your desired length or the length that's in the pattern. For my size small, I did a total of 13 rows for extending my top. I'm going to leave it right here because it's very repetitive. I did the 13 rows in all my samples. So once you're done with extending your top, you just chain 1, cut, and fasten off. So let's just consider this an ultra crop situation. And after you finish that, we're gonna go right into the V-neck. The V-neck or the freak neck. So we're gonna go right into the V-neck. We're gonna attach our yarn at the top right corner. So I'm gonna attach it right here. Turn it around. Attach right at the corner. Chain up 1. I'm gonna pull, and we're just gonna single crochet all around the V-neck, peephole, however you want to call it. I'm not gonna spoil it. Single crochet evenly all the way around. Now let me show you a little hack that I do to make sure I have a clean edge. So for me to have that clean single crochet, I don't go into the spaces, the chain 3 spaces or so, or the double crochet in the chain 3 spaces. I try to go under the stitch where there's 2 loops. So I find 2 loops and just go under that. It just creates a cleaner edge for me personally, but you could do what you feel is best. I mean, I say that really to all my friends, do what you feel is best, when I know they're going to make the wrong decision. But if you want to listen to your good friend, go under 2 loops. This for a clean edge. So I'm going to do that all the way around, and I get back when I'm at the next corner. Okay, so I'm back at the opposite corner. Look how good it's looking. You're just gonna chain 1 and single crochet back around. I'll meet you here so we can create that neckline and that beautiful peephole. So chain 1, single crochet in each stitch. This is row 2. This is just row 2 of the V-neck on page 21. Chain 1, single crochet in each stitch. Okay, so I have finished my 2 rows. Now we're gonna go right into the neckline once we finish here by simply chaining 1. And single crochet in each stitch. Try the method of going under 2 loops if you can. It just makes for a really clean line, you know what I'm saying? So just single crochet in each stitch, and I'll meet you back when I'm at the opposite corner right here. Now I'm back at the opposite corner. We're going to slip stitch right in the corner. Slip stitch right in the corner. Chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch. So we just created that peephole. So we're just gonna single crochet in each stitch and slip stitch into the slip stitch that we started with, and then our neckline will be done. Now after that slip stitch, well, you can actually slip stitch in that first single crochet or the slip stitch or the slip stitch, whichever is cleaner for you. After that, you just chain 1, cut your yarn, weave in your ends, which I have not been doing throughout this video. And now we're gonna go right into the sleeves. So this is how we are looking so far. So cute. I'll definitely probably extend it later or turn it into something else. Who knows, with somebody like me. Now let's jump right into the sleeve. We're gonna connect our yarn in the first chain from separating the body. So right here we'll connect our yarn and we'll be working in join rounds around the armhole. Okay, so this is the armhole between the stitch markers. We're gonna attach our yarn to that first chain. Remember, we chained 3 and we worked our established stitch pattern in that second chain. Attach yarn into that first chain area, chain up 3. We're working on page 24 of the pattern right now. You're going to work the established stitch pattern right on top of this stitch. So this is a block stitch. That means I'll be working a V-stitch. If you have a V-stitch, you work a block stitch. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down. I know y'all are. Y'all so talented. Now we're going to work our V-stitch, chain 3. Let me see. Let me get it real clear for y'all. All right, so boom. I'm working my V-stitch. Now into that next chain space, remember it was chain 3 right here. We're gonna work a double crochet. Now we're gonna just work our established stitch pattern all the way around. So starting where the stitch marker is, this is a V-stitch. I'll work a block stitch right there. Next, I have a block stitch. So next, I have a block stitch, so I'll work a V-stitch. And I'm just going to work the established pattern all the way around until we get to this chain 3 space. So now I'm at the place of that second stitch marker, and it was a V-stitch, so I'm going to work a block stitch. We will slip stitch into the top of that chain. Chain 3. And work our established stitch pattern. So this is a V-stitch. I'll be working a block stitch, and then double crochet in the double crochet from the previous row, and work your established stitch pattern all the way around to this chain 3, and you'll slip stitch, and just repeat the rows. Remember, we are working on page 24. I listed the amount of rows you need, but of course you could always just repeat row 2 until your desired length. So we are now in row 2. I'm just going to continue working my established stitch pattern. So I'm back to that chain 3. We'll slip stitch on top of that chain 3 and repeat row 2 for everything listed that's in the pattern for your size. So you just chain 3 and just work the pattern. After you finish your desired length or the amount of rows you need that's listed in the pattern, you just chain 1, cut your yarn, pull through, weave that in, be better than me, and work your second side. So let me just get you started on the second armhole, and we're doing the same exact thing. Attaching your yarn to that first chain of the chain 3 right here. Let me zoom in for you. Now for that second armhole, do the exact same steps. We have the 3 chains that's between the stitch markers. We worked our established stitch in that second chain when separating the body. You attach your yarn right here to that first chain, work your established stitch pattern, double crochet in the next, and just follow the same exact steps we did for the sleeve. Once you finish all your steps, you should have something beautiful like this. I love it so much. It's like my favorite item that I made so far, but you know I'm gonna keep coming with the heat, and I can't wait to see what y'all do. I really can't get enough of this. I can't get enough of this top. Like, I made it probably 3-4 times now. I'm an earth tone girl, but I just want y'all to get into the deep. This top down raglan style. You know what I'm saying? Top down raglan style. Hey, top down raglan style. Top is it. It's the it girl top. It's the it top. Seamless. The detail is beautiful. Simple stitches create this lovely top. I made it with 24/7 cotton yarn. They have tons of color. I actually ordered this 24/7 cotton yarn from Amazon. It came super quick with Prime and all of that, like 2 days max or something. But this is just lovely.